China is engaged in a whole-of-state effort to become the world's only superpower by any means necessary.
China has a mixed socialist market economy with an upper middle class that includes industrial programs and strategic five-year plans. After the United States, it has the second biggest nominal GDP in the world. Unveiling the enigma behind the economic strategies that propelled China from rags to riches. How did China become the economic miracle of the world? What was the key factor in China's economic success? Is China's journey to becoming the world's largest economy still on track? Is a crucial question that arises as we examine the economic strategies propelling China's rise. Do you think it's more likely that China is one of the world's most powerful countries now? Or do you still think it's more likely that it is still a land of extreme poverty? If the latter seems impossible, it is actually astounding to remember that this very same nation had a poverty rate of more than 90% just 4 decades ago. How this extraordinary turnaround occurred, bringing the famished and destitute nation to the incredible heights it currently holds. China's new era began in 1978, when Deng Xiaoping, a Chinese revolutionary and statesman, took office following Mao Zedong's demise. His involvement in Chinese politics changed China forever. China's share of the world's GDP in 1978 was barely 2%. China now accounts for more than 18% of the global GDP. China is the second largest economy in the world, with a poverty rate of less than 1%. It can be regarded as a superpower nation in many aspects. But how is that possible? What kind of magic did they use? China was one of the world's poorest countries when it was leaving its cultural revolution. The man known as the father of modern China is Deng Xiaoping because China's true transformation started under his leadership. Deng Xiaoping had an idea in 1978 that would completely alter communist China. Since then, China has advanced significantly in a number of areas. So how did one of the poorest nations in the world transform into a superpower in just 4 decades? What, in Deng's opinion, was the cause behind China's decades of devastation, and how did he set out to fix it? Deng believed that the Chinese government maintained a very tight grip on the country's economy. It was the reason for China's devastation over the previous 50 years. He desired economic freedom. He launched his economic liberalization initiatives for this reason. His overall ideology is now referred to as socialism with Chinese characteristics. First and foremost, Deng instituted a transformative system of household responsibility, turning the tide in the agricultural sector. This strategic move was similar to a game changer. This tactical choice changed the way China viewed its agricultural landscape. During Mao's Great Leap Forward, private farming was entirely eradicated, and land ownership was forbidden for all. At the local level, the government held sole ownership. Deng opted not to change with this ownership framework. The village authority continued to hold ownership of the property. However, individual farmers and their families were awarded long-term leases on the land. These farmers will have the freedom to select the crops they will raise, the way they will run their businesses, and the sources of their profits. The farmers now have more freedom to plant the crops they want. According to Deng, all farmers would have to sell the government a specific percentage of their harvest. However, after reaching that quota, they were free to sell the extra produce wherever they liked and make a profit. This encouraged the farmers to innovate. They worked more efficiently. In contemporary China, rural land accessibility is a reality for all. This marks a significant departure from the past, enabling individuals to lease land nearby and engage in agricultural activities. Rapidly recognizing this new potential, urban corporations made their way into the countryside. Here, they carefully set up big agriculture projects driven by companies. These were aimed directly at the people who buy things and focused on providing supermarkets in busy Chinese cities. Parallel to this, family farmers in rural areas adapted to the escalating needs. By employing tactics like renting out surrounding property and establishing cooperatives, they increased production. They connected their output to urban consumers through supermarkets and conventional wet markets in Chinese cities. As a result, these actions satisfied the nation's growing demand for more goods. After transforming agriculture, Deng turned his focus to the manufacturing industry. What steps did he take to promote change here? Deng Xiaoping, however, applied the same concept to manufacturing. The factory manager responsibility system was introduced. Prior to this, under Mao's rule, the Communist Party's members were responsible for running China's industrial factories. There was a great deal of political meddling. However, under Deng's direction, accountability was transferred to the managers and employees of the factories. They gave them greater freedom to choose what they wanted to manufacture, their production goal, the prices they would sell their goods for, and the wages they would receive. The industrial employees were once again given a reason to put in more effort. Consider that there is a factory that, for instance, produces shoes. The decisions regarding the quantity of shoes to be manufactured, the choice of materials, the selling prices, and the wages for workers and managers in the factory now rest in their hands. The staff members acquired a sense of accountability and ownership. Since it was their factory, they had the power to drive it in the direction of profitability if they chose to do so. Under Deng Xiaoping's leadership, significant decentralization took place. This shift allowed power to be distributed more broadly, giving rise to a bottom-up approach. In terms of economic freedom, more freedom was granted. Millions of people began to escape poverty as a result of all these policy initiatives, and people's lives began to change. Apart from agriculture and manufacturing, what are the other key areas that have played a pivotal role in propelling China's economic journey to global prominence? Due to China's superior manufacturing capabilities, businesses are reluctant to move production outside of China despite financial and political pressures. Chinese workers are more productive than their counterparts in developing Asian nations, despite being more expensive. China's economic development journey commenced by bolstering heavy industry, propelling it to the pinnacle of global manufacturing and a 50% share in steel production. China strategically shifts towards renewable energy, particularly natural gas. The mining industry harvests a variety of minerals, including coal, iron ore, salt, oil, gas, and gold. Vast hydroelectric potential was harnessed with the Three Gorges Dam's 2012 completion, emerging as a significant electricity source for southern cities like Shanghai. China's manufacturing prowess encompasses textiles, machinery, cement, food processing, transportation, consumer goods, and electronics. The nation excels not only in domestic hardware and software production, but also as a prime assembler of foreign electronics. The software and IT sectors stand out with impressive growth, evident in a substantial 10.8% uptick in revenue. A colossal automobile market with nearly 300 million vehicles is primarily oriented towards domestic consumption. Despite facing criticism over IP theft and safety issues, Chinese vehicle sales surged by an impressive 3.8% to reach 26.2 million units in 2021. Additionally, a considerable number of cars are finding their way to international markets. High vehicle margins persist due to unique distribution and sales methods. China's economic panorama features a plethora of free trade agreements, notably RCEP, the largest trade bloc in history. China is home to 145 of the 500 largest corporations in the world. How have reforms, infrastructure development, and state-led policies helped China on its path to economic transformation, promoting growth and global prominence? Economic reform and opening up. Starting in 1978, China started making significant economic changes that paved the way for a market-based, liberalized economy. These reforms effectively incorporated China into the global economy and stimulated trade and investment opportunities. The creation of special economic zones, the promotion of foreign investment, and the liberalization of trade regulations all played a significant role in supporting these fundamental changes. Infrastructure development. China has made significant infrastructure investments in ports, airports, trains, and highways, allowing for seamless communication between its vast interior and coast. This program has increased domestic trade and immigration while attracting foreign investment. State-led industrial policy. Due to state-led policies, China's strategic industries, including IT, biotech, and renewable energy, have prospered. Subsidies, tax incentives, and preferential treatment for local companies have sped up growth. The government's significant spending on research and development highlights its dedication to invention and advancement in technology. The Chinese government has elevated innovation to a paramount position within its economic planning. It has pursued this agenda through several prominent endeavors, such as Made in China 2025. However, these actions have raised concerns that China aims to reduce its dependence on foreign technology. They could do this by enforcing industrial policies that include barring international companies from operating within their borders. This trend has led to speculation about China's intent to eventually gain control over the global market. And there you have it, a comprehensive exploration of China's multifaceted economic strategies that fueled its remarkable rise. From state-led industrial prowess to transformative infrastructure development and the sweeping economic reform that opened doors to the world. These measures have propelled trade, welcomed foreign investment, and invigorated the nation's economic landscape. Has China really made up its mind to take over the world market? What do you think? Comment below.